Oh, hey, Brento here, just scratching my nose. Welcome back to Dump City. So, where did we leave off last episode? We're getting ready to start building our Soviet Los Angeles here, stockpiling materials. Where we last left off, we had a complete full storage of bricks and boards, right? Do you remember that? I did play a little bit between episodes. I can't remember exactly how much was in there. We have most of our construction industries ready to go. I guess as with all episodes, we'll just do a little bit of a follow-up, what's going on in the world here. I just did a census count here, the population, 9586. Here it is. Here it is. We lost almost 800. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we made no effort to take care of people in LA. The city continues to remain pretty much abandoned, but we saved on coal, right? We didn't spend any money on heat over the winter. I lost a few more people than usual, but we saved money, right? That's the lesson of this game, right? You gotta manage your money. Our fire station's now equipped with a fire truck. Our gravel freeway is still growing here. It's gone. This was a mud road a few episodes ago. Now it's gone all the way into the city here, and it's starting to wrap around to the other side. I noticed too we have some clean water here, or at least we could have some clean water if we had some workers, but no one lives in the city, so at least it's not costing us chemicals. San Francisco here, we got our elevated freeway bypass here, and the wooden Golden Gate Bridge still in blueprint mode, but not much has happened there. I think that's kind of they are working on projects we don't want them to work on. So this is why you got to check. You don't want to be spending money on stuff you don't need yet. And we definitely don't want to be putting much into San Francisco here. You'll notice here in the corner, our debt, our money's going down faster because we're borrowing more money than before. Look at all these. We've got a full page of $100,000 borrowings. And the interest rate's gone up to 2.9% from the greedy capitalists. But that's because we're doing most of our business with them. That said, the Soviet bloc nations here, we got Russia and China. We've got plenty of rubles to work with. So we should continue to work on developing that. We've got a bit of highway being built here. And I think what we might do at some point here is actually, we could probably do that right now while we're at it, is I'd like to expand this highway. Or at least to improve it to an asphalt highway. At least from Houston into the city, but possibly this leg as well. Actually, you know what? This leg here might be better to do. You know what? We could probably do that right now, because I don't really want them to be going into San Francisco to work on projects. We want to get the vehicles moving faster, so how about we just do that now? And by doing this, we're basically blocking access to the rest of the city for other projects at the same time. So this way they'll work on that specifically, right, and not go all the way into here and start doing these silly projects. I don't like. There's so many going on here. I don't know if I've disabled them all. You can check individually, but just as a precautionary measure, if we kind of block up this highway here and give them no other way in. Yeah, actually, let's block it completely. Right there. So they have to work on that segment of highway. it's something for them to do here. Likewise, China, I have the gravel highway that goes into Dump City is very well developed now. Actually, it looks like it's almost all done here. So this will be once we run out of money, which we will, like, there's a high chance we're going to run out of US dollars and not be able to play at all. Like, we're going to not be able to buy electricity from Canada. And because we are likely going to go over the fiscal cliff, at least in US dollars, we want to be able to switch over to new currencies at some point. So we want these highways in place. And I think, yeah, let's start working on some highway upgrades here. This is definitely going to need to be a gravel or an asphalt highway as well. Let's put our doubled up segment here, and we'll begin doing that shortly. Actually, we could probably even start that now, just because. Yeah, let's do that. It's here. This here. Oh, we got our new technical service off. We got a technical service office for this district, but winter's kind of just ended, so it was done at a bad time. We'll set up some snow plows for next winter there. I don't know my audience just yet. I was looking at some of the YouTube metrics, and I noticed there was the impressions I'm getting have been going down. I don't understand that, why impressions would go down. I understand my click-through rates, my view times. Those tell you something, right? Like if your view time isn't very long, you're just not engaging enough, So that's why I've added a little bit more interesting stuff at the start of the episodes. Again, this isn't a one of those shows that you quickly, it's not a 10-minute show, right? You're here to watch something long format, maybe background noise. It's maybe it's just something of interest, and there's enough things going on in the game that I think that it should keep. If you can commit a couple hours to watching the show, it should be worth your time. You won't regret it, right? But some of the clips of the show haven't been getting the impressions. So I can understand a lower click-through rate. I got to work on my thumbnails. I can understand lower view time. Just make better content, have better topics. But click-through rate, the impressions, I can't control that. And they've gone way down. Like, by in the first couple episodes, I had almost 3,000 impressions of some of my early videos, and now I rarely get over 300. So I have to figure out what's going on with that. I don't know what the algorithm's doing to make it that way, but either way, it doesn't seem like it seems like there's something wrong. Maybe it's a bug. And again, I'm not an expert at this. I just I'm here to share my enthusiasm for a fun video game, and share some knowledge I have in life. I think I'm just as a character, and I think that's probably my strongest suit. I think I have a little bit more knowledge, real knowledge, than the average person you see on YouTube. Because a lot of people, again, you got a lot of survivor bias on YouTube. And I'm the opposite. I'm the guy who was like, almost, the second best candidate for every job. And this is what it led to, right? And I think I do have a broader knowledge than the average person. I think my stories are worth telling. And again, I was originally going to call this series Storyteller, but it was on the short list. Maybe I'll make another channel for something like that. But I don't understand how the impressions would go down, because objectively speaking, my first few episodes weren't as good as later ones. So the ones that should, like, if you look at the quality of the content, the ones that should be getting more impressions are getting less. And I don't think YouTube wants that. I think that's against their uh, intended objectives, right? Like if your business is to sell entertainment and keep people engaged, then you should be giving more impressions to the videos that are better than the ones that are, give it to the better videos. And you would think that as someone starts off on YouTube, you would, uh, it would be understood that their videos are going to get better, right? Like, not every one of mine's linearly better than the last one, but overall they are better than the first one. So why were there more impressions at first and now less impressions when it's finally good, right? It doesn't teach me anything either. It's like, how can I know if my thumbnails are better or worse if you're not showing them at all, right? Or how do I know if my content is better or worse if there is no one viewing them? So there is no measurement of view times. So I don't know, maybe I'll clip a little bit out of this episode. As you know, on the show, I rant for long stretches. I sort of play the video game. I'll tell you in this episode, a bit of a spoiler, we're going to do another fake job. Again, I'm a very harsh critic of other jobs and industries. I've never been really treated in my career with any kind of benevolence or given a fake job in my life. So those that do have the fake jobs, you will get chewed out at some point. Not in every episode. I can't say I'm going to do that because I have to genuinely think of, this is just, a bull crap thing that's happening that you accept as a normal job. It exists in almost every city, and it's not good. Like for the public, these fake jobs. They're jobs that leach from the system and contribute effectively nothing or very little. Like they take more than they give, and that's a fake job. Okay, like you could argue just being sociable and interacting with people daily is has value to it. It's a bit of a security mechanism too. If you're regularly interacting with people, you know what's going on. You know they're probably not up to any, mischievous acts or anything like that. If you know them, what they're doing with their job, but the cost of these jobs is a problem. And most of the fake jobs I'm going to list are jobs that are higher paying jobs that pay at least six figures, and they're just completely unnecessary. Or in some cases they're problematic, like they're industries that create other industries for no reason, and they run you off the fiscal cliff, right? And that's what part of what the series is demonstrating. How if you don't manage your money right, you go off the fiscal cliff. But in this show, we don't really in this game we don't have fake jobs. Everything's a real job, but it is kind of rigged because it's not real communism here, because we have we have this idea of interest taking money out of the system, and it doesn't like it's not a cooperatively owned bank, therefore it's not socialism. There are czars somewhere in our Soviet Republic taking this interest out, and therefore forcing society to eventually collapse, much like happened in 1989. The Soviet Republic of 1989, and the U.S. is in a very precarious situation right now. We could demonstrate that capitalism doesn't work. Because if you go off the fiscal cliff, and if your solution's a bank bailout, I don't know how the U.S. is going to react to that. I know they're trying to do. They got rather than calling it a bank bailout, they've been come up with this term called quantitative easing, which is the same thing. Like they just see it coming and they do it in little bits that are not reported in the news. But if you find out about that, definitely put that in the news to call these people out, because you can't steal. That's stealing money. You're literally stealing from working people. you're stealing their money. You bail out banks, and just because you're used to it and it's been tolerated before, I don't think that's going to fly. You can call it whatever you want, but giving money to the people at top who create fake jobs and ruin the economy. Again, the fiscal cliff is like you can't just borrow forever. Everything has an opportunity cost, right? So, and that's measured between nations too. So if your nation's really inefficient and like let's say it borrows and buys a lot of stuff but doesn't pay anything back, at an international level that becomes a big problem, and people start noticing that. And you could go to war with the world as one solution, and the other solution is to, be fiscally responsible, cut the wasteful spending, get rid of the fake jobs, bring in UBI, right? Because again, UBI isn't a thing that gives you a lot of privilege in the world. It's just the basics for survival. But the truth is, if we have too many fake jobs, which we can't afford to maintain, that's the solution. That if you're not really contributing anything to society, you shouldn't have so much money that you can continue to purchase from society, because you're draining society. You are the problem if you have a fake job. And it's mandatory for national security. Like a nation can't exist if it's not fiscally solvent. So for that reason, we'll talk about a fake job later on. I have a couple of jokes here, various other topics. Oh yeah, the mics gain is a little bit higher than the previous episode. I noticed I had some mic issues, and I think I might have to buy a mic, even though I really have no money. I'm hoping by the time someone sees this episode on YouTube that I'm starting to gain some traction, that there are some people watching the show, I would assume. I do think it's not a bad show. I think it's above average quality. If you consider the commentary and the meat and the uniqueness to this show. But I think I might have to invest in a better mic. So again, I have no money right now. I also need an external hard drive, because each of these recordings is taking up several gigabytes of memory, and I'm not going to be able to record too many if I don't have the disk space to continue to store them. So that's something I have to work on. I'm also trying to work on my uhs. I noticed that I say a lot. I think part of the reason for that, and I don't think I could actually completely stop it, it's because there's a lot of complicated things I'm doing in this game. This is realistic mode, so this is as hard a setting as it will get. And I have to really think, so uhs just come out naturally, but I'll try to say it less. If I'm cognizant of it, I will reduce the amount of uhs I say. But don't expect it to be zero. Just check this out here. One other thing, I'm allowed to say ums, but one other thing, last episode near the end, all the world started turning to asphalt. It was a bizarre glitch where everything was turning to asphalt. And I think what had happened is when I connected one of these roads around here, where I was building something, something happened. So there's definitely some sort of bug in the game. It was in the last few minutes of the show it happened. So I had to roll back a little bit. That's why the inventory storage isn't exactly what it was, because this is a bit of a parallel time dealing with some glitch that covered the whole world in asphalt. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'm going to try to save I'm creating a save before each recording, just in case something happens during the episode, because it's a little harder for me to catch these things in real time. And I was lucky that one of the auto saves was still good, and I could revert back to that. So I didn't lose all of the last episode's playthrough, but I did lose about 10-15 minutes. Now that we do have all these goods stockpiling in our storage, you can start building. Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's start building right now. See, I can see right now our open storage trucks have no work to do. They're just lying here. So what we want to do is we want to start picking projects to start working on. And I know this requires bricks, so I'm gonna turn this on right now. Just turn that on right now. We'll start working on. I don't know if we'll finish the cathedral first, but I don't want my trucks doing nothing. Right? That's always the biggest waste, is to have your trucks idle. Now they'll see that project and they'll head to work. And they'll start loading up these bricks and these boards and bringing them over to the cathedral. If it's the first thing we build, so be it. But one of the reasons I do like the church, even though this is a big church and massive overkill, is that it doesn't require any supplies to provide value. It just has to exist. It doesn't even need electricity. So even though it's one of the more expensive buildings to rebuild, we should work on that. The next thing is, what's the priority on other buildings? I was thinking, because the cinema is similar in concept, it doesn't require food or supplies. So you gotta be careful here. We are losing money kind of bad already, and we don't want to build buildings that are higher maintenance. So the cinema and the church, I think, both are worthy of building. If we look here, though, the cinema doesn't use any boards or bricks, so maybe you won't do that one. Let's just look around here for, okay, the technical university. I would like that one too, because that will let us start unlocking some technologies. I don't know if we're going to need, I'd say the headquarters university here. I'll say that's a lower priority. The halls of residence, I think that's lower priority too, because there's no one even in the houses, so people can, if they're going to go to school, they can just stay in the houses. Let's just keep an eye on our highways here too. I think, in conjunction with developing our city, we also have to go up through the city and figure out places where, okay, I think we should resume this. Because we want our roads to be working a little bit better. We want vehicles to get through the city now that there's going to be construction happening. And if traffic is impeded, it just lowers the actual productivity of the city, right? So we've got to keep an eye on that too. This is going to be a bit of an action-packed episode, and if you don't know what that means, basically, so I'm going to try to avoid pressing pause during the episode. This got done between episodes too. I play a little bit afterwards just to clean things up. And again, that asphalt roads bug, I had to invest a bit of time into figuring out what's going on there. But yeah, we got our vehicle repair station built, and I started supplying it with goods. And there's a truck that should be on this highway somewhere, unless it just arrived. And it is delivering goods, and I notice it's oversupplied. A few routes were set up so that workers are getting delivered. This was set up between episodes. But we do have a rogue truck here, and I'm trying to find it. As you see how everything's overfilling here? I want to specifically put mechanical components in there too. So this has delivered quite a bit of steel. I don't think it needs to deliver more aluminum. It's got supplies. Let's catch that truck. I should set these up with distribution offices, but we're running low, so a lot of this, and we don't have the technology to build the bigger distribution offices yet. So, okay, let's see if we can send this one to, it's halfway to China now. Let's just send it to here, and then it can pick up this bulldozer and start working on the asphalt roads. I just don't want it to continue to pick up steel if we don't need steel. But there is a covered hull truck that is unaccounted for. I don't know where it's getting its goods from. Here it is, covered hull. Let's find it. Okay, where did it go? Okay, it should have been, I don't know, there's something funny there. Maybe I missed something on the UI, but this truck here. Okay, so let's actually change this. Okay, good, we caught it just in time. Let's grab some mechanical components. I noticed that everything else was full. Ooh, I don't know if it's going to be able to, like, it's got a little bit of other stuff in there, but let's put all the rest mechanical components. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that one. And it's starting to repair these vehicles, so that's good. We can add them back into circulation once they get repaired. Remember that one that was 100% damaged? It's appears to be not 100% damaged anymore. So I didn't know that. I think I said in a previous episode that once something is 100%, you can never drive again. Well, I guess if you bring it to the repair station and it gets repaired, it can drive again. So that was a mistake. My early tutorials are not, like, it's still not good that it would get to 100%. You don't want to keep driving a vehicle until it's 100% damaged. So that is good advice on that point, but the statement that you can never drive it again was in fact incorrect. So just keep that in mind. Okay, but I just want to just double check things here. Okay, so 2 tons of mechanical goods, a little bit of plastic. Actually, let's see if we can find it really quick here. We're going to catch it in time. Oh, it's loading up. That might be all I could have loaded. Maybe we should have grabbed a bit of plastic. Yeah, like it's better to buy it here than from, oh my, we're running out of money. We're running out of money. Very close, very close. Yeah, it gets worse and worse, but we are, in theory, buying less and less goods from this U.S. border because we're making a lot of them now at the actual, in our construction facilities here. That said, our gravel supplies were running low last episode, and actually, you know what we got to do here? Like, we got to keep building this rail line. Okay, that's looking not bad. I think just the workers getting to work is the issue here. I might adjust this a little bit. I have a lot of workers set up getting dropped off right here. So they're going to go to the wood cutting post. And that seems to be the bottleneck. We only need 2 guys working at the mill, it looks like, because all the wood's getting eaten up. Oh yeah, and I set this to a bi-directional wood so that if this wood ever fills up and it's going here, then it can later start pulling back out of here and going into the sawmill. I noticed the construction building doesn't actually use wood, but other stuff might use wood. So it's a bit of a buffer here. As long as we have space in the open storage warehouse, that's it's probably not a bad thing. The problem with concrete is that it empties, it's on demand, so someone has to be manning the facility in order to fill the truck, and we don't have any workers. So even though, let's just see if we can get one in range. What we might want to do, and maybe this should be part of the Build It They Will Come episode, we might want to build one of the good residential buildings. So, and have it close enough so that the people that live there can work in our asphalt plant and our concrete plant, which both require workers to be there while the vehicle's there to load up. So I'm thinking we should build something kind of close to that. That said, I don't know if I want to give them the supreme highest quality real estate, but I want to give them something pretty good. So maybe let's do that. Let's build our first ever commune in our communist Los Angeles. It's just an apartment building, okay? I know the capitalists invested for years to frighten you. It's because a lot of them own property, right? And they don't, like, that's why rich people invest so much in anti-communist propaganda, is because in order to, they talk about, billionaires having all this money, but they don't just keep it in a bank account. They invest in stuff like real estate investment trusts, and they therefore buy a lot of homes, and that they're in order to protect their investment. They're like NIMBYs in that they don't want other homes to be built to keep the value of their homes up. So yeah, they are the cause of homelessness. But some people notice this, uh, and that's why the idea of building these large apartments is they're always resisting it. Like if you look at Soviet, you'll notice the loading screens in this game. They show a lot of these residential building blocks. This was a big thing. They understood this until I guess enough capitalists infiltrated the higher ups. I guess that's one of the things a good socialist government needs is it rules to protect itself from capitalists, because that's ultimately what the downfall was of the Soviet Republic, is infiltration of capitalist ideals and just a general unawareness of what's going on, right? Like the socialist parties, if you can't just take care of everyone, okay? There's some things, some people, there's just some things you can't deal with, and if you try to spend too much energy dealing with trying to get the highest fruit in the tree and not going for the lowest hanging fruit, always that should be one of the tenets of a socialist government: is go for the low lying fruit first, basic stuff. And one thing we definitely need is some housing. So I wasn't sure exactly what kind of housing to build, but I know there's some very nice ones here, like this medium one here. I use a lot because if you look here, so you can build houses in this game, and initially you can't build any of the good houses, but the ones you get aren't bad. You'll notice they have a certain population capacity. Like the large one here has 157 workers. These medium ones, see, this is a very big medium one. It has 110. This is a very popular one. I think a lot of people build this in the games. This is kind of the bread and butter one. But I'm thinking there's also a few small ones here, and they have pretty good quality to them. I'm thinking we're going to do some smaller ones here, just because they're a little cheaper, and I want it to kind of fit with the style of Los Angeles. We got houses in this district. I think maybe we're going to do a lot of these, a lot of small ones, but maybe downtown some big ones once the technology unlocks. But you'll see these only fit like 10 or 20 workers, right? So I think for this project, we essentially just want to have a full-time home for people to work in the concrete plant and the asphalt plant. So I'm thinking, let's go with, see, that's a nice house. It's a very nice house. No one can complain with that. Let's give them some good houses to start off with. Actually, I think the one with 20 might be a little better, because it's not much worse quality, and people in houses aren't all workers, right? You got kids in them, and half the time they're not doing a job or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab this house here, this one that has 20. It's cut off now, but you saw it when I was hired. And let's build our first commune. It's a small one, but you can probably fit it around here somewhere. I'm thinking, well, hold on. I just want to make sure can we even fit a bigger one here? Oh, we could. We could fit a bigger one here, but I don't know if we want to. Maybe we should do the bigger one. See if it's using our bricks and lumber. Yeah, let's build a bigger one here. It just fits nicely, but let's mirror it so that the walkway's on the other side. And these people will go to work directly. It's a little close to the construction zone. Pollution might be a little high with this one. It fits in the spot nicely. You know, it's just well suited to fit here. So let's put that there. Let's check out the lines. Oh, let's grab some money before. I'm not sure if there's penalties, but just in case. Like I said, I don't want to borrow more. I wish they had an auto line of credit where you only borrowed what you needed, but they don't have that. So let's go back and see if we can get that. I'd like to get a sidewalk in front of the building. Actually, let's try that one with 20. Let's see if that one can fit a sidewalk in front. Maybe in here somewhere. I could put 2 of these, but that's only 40. You know, let's go with the medium one. It's 110 workers. We want to have this like this whole zone here. It would be nice if they could walk into work in the track builders facility. I think we're just going to have no sidewalks in the front. We just got to live with that. You can't have it perfect all the time. And we'll mirror that. And that should get them. This will ensure. This might not be a super popular building, but there'll be a lot of workers here. Like the ones that don't go to work in the concrete or the asphalt plant, they'll, you know, I'm pretty sure, like we can walk, if you see here. Well, I think we'll be able to walk there with that asphalt. Let me just check. Is that connected? Oh, it's a little short for some reason. That is bizarre. Okay, that should be in walking distance. There we go. So this ensures that if a truck goes to pick up concrete, it will always, let's make this, let's make this a high priority right here. So I want those open haul trucks to get to work. Like asphalt and concrete require workers in the building to operate. It's not like other factories where here I can make the bricks, for example, and the truck just picks them up whenever, right? These ones require, it's just a little more complicated than the other ones. So that ensures that's taken care of. And any surplus workers in that building can work in the food factory because that's within walking distance too. Oh, our warehouse is done here. So you saw in the last episode where we limited our amount in the open storage. We should probably do that here as well. And 25, I guess. We could probably start storing stuff in there. Let's keep an eye on where our truck is. Oh, okay. Okay, we got to catch that truck. It's made its delivery. We should be doing distribution offices here. I really don't want to pause it because it's not as exciting when it's paused. Where is it? Okay, let's change what it's going to pick up this time. I think it needs to pick up plastic. This is not how you should operate this. But again, we're out of distribution offices. So we have to do this. Let's grab that plastic only. See if that, I think we needed the plastic. And once it gets picked it up, we'll have to catch it and park it somewhere after. We'll get into the fake jobs a little a bit later in the episode. The fake job of choice. Okay, we got our asphalt segment built here. I think I'm going to build another segment here. And yeah, the reason I do these in little chunks is that means both these facilities can operate. Like if I would have covered this all in asphalt here, so like you're like, why don't you do the whole leg? Well, then things won't be able to get into this distribution office. So I'll finish this side first. So if they need to use the gas station, you just go around. And if they want to use distribution office, they can go out this side. And then later I'll work on this side. So it can still operate. It's inefficient, but it still works. But then it will be, once it gets all upgraded, it'll be asphalt. I think too, yeah, let's just keep these going. You know what? There was an asphalt machine somewhere. I don't know where it is right now. Oh, okay. Okay, that kind of worked out nice. We got an open haul truck with our asphalt paver and our bulldozer all working together building highways. So that's good. Let's just keep an eye on our highways here. This one's coming along. I really don't have enough work for these people right now, but as long as they're doing something. And soon we're going to have some faster vehicles. I know there's a bus that goes over 100 kilometers an hour. Once we can buy those, we'll put these asphalt highways to work. We don't have those yet, but we are putting these immigrants to work, and we're getting our rubles, our stuff with rubles at those two custom houses. This is a problem though. We are running out of money. We're going to have to stop using US dollars soon. Like, you also want to have your trucks doing something. This is, they teach this in business school. This is actually considered a skill, but it's actually kind of common sense. No, it's too big of a truck. Like, you always want your resources doing something productive all the time. Don't borrow more capital than you need. Don't buy more machines. It's the art of matching exactly what you need with your planning. But that's kind of a common sense skill. So I do want to talk about what I'm doing here for marketing. So I think one of the weaknesses of this show is I don't have enough viewers. And I think that's because a lot of people just look for content. They recognize the name and then they just watch it. And they don't, they're not necessarily being objectively rational if, this entertainer is still entertaining after so many episodes. I'm trying to be as entertaining as I can each episode. I have a routine before I start the show. I do get prepared for, I have mental focus going on, but I don't have name recognition. So one of the things I'm working on, as you know, we're working on background noise. I tag as many videos as I can with background noise. I'm going to take over that market. But I have to work on gaslighting people. And what I want to do is I want to convince enough people with the way the words on my thumbnails and the images are set up is that I'm an actual celebrity that's been around for a long time. And that's my plan, is to gaslight. And I want to target people that don't necessarily know who famous Twitch streamers are. So if you don't know the market, it works all the better with the gaslighting. So I say I'm a big Twitch streamer, and I target people who don't know who the big Twitch streamers are, right? Because if I targeted people who are familiar with the top names on Twitch, they go, you're just lying. You're just lying. But if I target people who don't know, I can gaslight them into thinking I'm a celebrity, and therefore get more viewers, right? But if you think about it, you're thinking, oh, that's awful what you're doing. If you think about it, that's how every celebrity became famous, without exception. You were gaslit into believing this person was. It's like Johnny Carson started the Tonight Show, and then one day Jay Leno hosts it. He's got a lot of fans. Why? Because Johnny gaslit everyone into believing Jay was, the the guy to take over the show. But the guy starts from nothing. It's not like Jay Leno. Like, I know he did some temporary hosting and worked his way into the position, but you don't just like, if Jay Leno would have just come out of nowhere and there was no Johnny Carson, Jay Leno wouldn't exist. Like, you wouldn't, the show would have flopped, right? So that has to be done, even though uh, you might think that gaslighting people into who is worth listening to is a terrible thing to do. That's standard practice in Hollywood, right? That's normal business. Um, I think I'm going to come up with a Hollywood thumbnail for this one too. But that's just how it works. And by the way, a side note: Johnny Carson was the greatest talk show host ever, and I'm just old enough to know this. That I saw him when I was a child, and there's never been anyone better. Maybe Conan. Conan's had his moments. Conan might have had better writers than Johnny, but Johnny was the GOAT. He's the Michael Jordan of talk shows, and if you might have even noticed in my show, there are some things I do that are Johnny Carsonisms. The critique of the joke. Like, he would do his monologue, and he had worse writers than Conan, and half the time the joke was so bad that his critique of the joke got way more laughs than the joke. He just, like, what were they thinking, or he tried to figure out the thought process behind the joke, and that was the entertainment of it. That was his style, and until then, you just read your cue cards, you just did what you're supposed to do. But Johnny kind of went a little outside the box, and even some of his stuff, if you look at it today, if you get a chance to look at old Johnny Carson, highly recommend it. Just find some of his more interesting moments. And the guy did it for a very long time, pretty much every day. And that's the commendable part about it. It's like, if you just do one show once in a while, of course it's going to be higher quality. But to do that long for that volume, with reasonably good quality the whole time, and he was famous. And I'll be honest, I think, just like a lot of people who watch any shows, if you get an hour into a show, that's unusual. It's really hard to watch any show for 1 hour and still be entertained. It's just very rare. Even if I do a good episode here, you could get cut off. Phone call, someone comes to your door. It's just the probability of lasting to the end gets lesser and lesser, and I'm well aware of that. But that said, maybe there'll be someone out there who says, "I've watched every minute," and they put it in the comments, and you'll be my favorite person in the world, frankly, if someone out there did that. But I don't expect that. Like, if you can just watch parts of the show, give it some credit. Contact YouTube and say, how come he doesn't have the same outcome of opportunity, right? He's not given the same opportunity. I don't believe in equality of outcome. I believe in equality of opportunity. And if I'm getting less impressions for no apparent reason, but again, that could also just be random too. I'm not going to say that's they're picking on small people. I don't think that's necessarily true, but it could be true. Like, the algorithm could just be cruel and unthinking of potential future markets, right? Like, if this becomes a bigger show and you didn't encourage it enough, there's reason to think that that's an error in the algorithm. So I think the correct way for the algorithm to work is you get the same impressions, at least maybe per minute duration. So if it's a 1 hour episode, you get X amount of impressions. If it's 2 hours, you get more. and there might be some rules on the content, like if it's someone speaking and doing interactive stuff the whole time, that's worth more than just a silent camera in the background recording something. I'm sure they put some thought into that. You'd think there'd be like a team of people at YouTube that actually inspects the content for quality issues and maybe adjusts it a little bit. And maybe that's it. Maybe you just got to make enough episodes. But yeah, I would say that for sure, if I could get more impressions, that would be awesome. And I don't think I'll ever be Johnny Carson here, but it would be nice to be able to pay the rent doing this. That I would hope that getting enough money to feed myself is in the cards for how much bloody work this is. If you don't have a sponsor, you are at extreme disadvantage in life. It's kids without fathers and or born in poor nations or poor neighborhoods or whatever. If you're born fatherless in a poor neighborhood, you're like you could be twice as smart as the guy with you could have genius IQ and end up in prison. That's just the way it works. It's not a merit-based system. I think someone who says your zip code is a bigger predictor. Which zip code you were born in is a bigger predictor of your success than any other variable. It's something to think about. No matter how educated you are, or how good of how hardworking you are, it is your zip code that was the number one determining factor. So, just something to keep in mind. This show might not be that bad, even though I don't have, I'm at 5 subscribers as of this recording, and I don't think it's that bad. I think that's a little unfair, but again, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to make 100 episodes. They say make 100 episodes. Don't worry about the algorithm. So I'm not going to worry about it. Eventually, I'm sure someone will look into it. I think there's enough interesting thing going on in this show to justify the need to gaslight people into clicking thumbnails. But we'll see how that works. Can you target people who don't follow Twitch and say, here's a Twitch gamer? I don't know. Just an idea. It's part of the show, okay? Let's get back. We've got things that aren't working here, so we've got to focus on this for a bit here. And we've got to borrow money again. I haven't missed one yet. I haven't missed a payment. Okay, so I want to... so I grabbed one of those vans here, and I want it to... I want to set up a route. Go here, and go to this lumber mill. And then I want to... just go to work there and then start... Because this is a functioning wood cutting post, and there's a lot of trees here, and I want to then sell stuff. Let's look at the price. I want to start fighting we're not selling anything. That's the problem. So let's look at the price of wood and look at the price. Okay, so wood is $7. It's so I'm wondering if we just sell the wood directly. If we can make it into lumber, sure, but it goes up. I don't know if that's worth the extra travel. The bricks sell for decent. Let's okay. How are we doing for... See, they're not producing wood fast enough. That's the thing. So let's modify this distribution office. Where's the wood cutting post? Oh, there it is, the Canada one. So this will load. So this has a capacity of 50 tons, and this thing can carry 14. So let's say if it gets up to At a 30%. Yeah, it'll take a full load at 30. You don't want it to load at 0, right? Because we don't want to be grabbing a little bit. So we'll set this one to load lumber or wood at 30. And then it can either sell it. No. Let's bring it over to the actual sawmill. Yeah, we'll unload it at the sawmill. So if it goes less than 30% wood at the sawmill, which it chronically is, it's going to bring it over there. So let's just see. Okay, it's probably going to pick up some lumber right now, or bricks or something. Yes. So it's going to load some bricks and it's going to sell them to the custom house. And I'll be curious to see how much money we get for those bricks. It's just that we can't continue to be making these things. And, oh man, we are at full capacity too. Okay, you know what? We have to get more than one of these even. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem. Is the coal being delivered? I want to check the vehicles here. Yeah, I think one of these is delivering coal to it. So yeah, we've reached capacity at the brick factory, and nothing else is getting built fast enough to get these trucks to pick up the bricks. So we do have a bit of an issue here, or we're economically inefficient. See, I'm yapping again. It takes me a while before, we need 549 work days before they'll start consuming bricks here. Let's see if we can find something else that we use bricks right away. Any quick brick projects. This one we'll use some shortly. Make this a high priority. And you know, once this is built, actually, there's another thing we got to check here. Once it gets done, you can auto invite. Should we auto invite? I don't think so. No. Let's randomly take from existing though. That's free. We don't want to spend money if possible because they're not going to want to live here very long. I think like this kind of has to be done at the same time. Like honestly, we didn't need this house. We have enough houses. Just the problem is we don't have them in the right spot. Like this house is just too far away from the concrete factory. That's what it comes down to. Just that this one's in a better location. But we're going to need these amenities working for it to be widely used. So, yeah, we got to get this brick factory. This is a problem. We got to get these bricks out of here. I wish we had. Can we build another distribution office? Let's see here. Oh, that would be here. I'm pretty sure we're out of them. No. Yeah, we don't have the technology to build more than this. You know, I'm tempted. I'm just going to, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. This is an emergency action. Oh, and there's our cover call is AWOL again. But no, I'm going to make, I'm going to make this go there. It's going to load bricks and unload. So this isn't even, this is just automatic. It's going to unload bricks. And then it's going to start that route. So there we go. It's not using it, but again, it's like that covered haul truck that we're kind of trying to catch. Yes, good, turn around. Let's go catch it again. I think our vehicle repair yard has everything it could ever want. Look at that, well supplied. Actually, it's using up plastic pretty fast. But let's go find it and park it somewhere. Because okay, it's got all kinds of weird stuff on it. Let's park it here for now. We've got quite a few cover calls. We can take a couple out of commission. And we'll keep an eye on things here. Okay. Wow, those bricks are just getting cranked out. The coal's not keeping up. We've got so many workers making these bricks. So we've got to find, you know what I want to do here? Okay, how come this isn't picking up? Unload bricks, unload boards. Let's just check here. Open storage. Oh, I got it backwards. I've got it backwards. We're loading bricks and wood. Okay. Yeah. Talking and doing are tricky. Okay. So let's just check this out. We should be making some wood. We need a vehicle here. Let's see if we can. See if we've got any used wood cutting vehicles. I know there's some that should be unlocking soon, but this one sucks. We don't need a 90-kilometer-an-hour wood cutter truck. Let's see if there's any new ones here. No, nothing new. Yeah, I think there's one that's going to be coming up soon. That once we get it, we're going to put up both our wood cutting posts, and this might stave off a financial catastrophe in this game. So let's do that. And you know what? I want to find that truck here. We're so low on distribution office slots. You got to start taking some of them out here. And this coal truck here, this coal delivery truck, it's been going non-stop. And okay, so it just unloaded. Let's send that to the depot. And let's grab it again. And let's give it a route of dedicated coal pickup. It's just going to load coal non-stop. These workers are going through it so fast that, and this gives us an extra slot in our distribution office for something later. We could throw an open haul truck there, so that will now. We might get oversupplied in coal, but there's so many workers that I'm dropping off at this bus stop that it can't keep up. And we are selling some of these bricks, so now we're not wasting money. Things are going good again. But I just want to make sure we don't go off the fiscal cliff, because we do want to sell some things. And if we're not using the bricks, we've got to sell them, right? That's how you manage your resources. You always want to keep things moving. An MBA, that's what they'll do. They'll say, you do that, here's your MBA. That's the one thing. Play this game, win at this difficulty, here's your MBA. This could replace it. That could be a fake job, an MBA, where you could just play video games, and if you win it, you prove you know what you're doing. If you can't win it, you got to think about things. But you got to be taught stuff too, right? That managing your resources is part of it, and that would be like a logistics end of it. I know there's, marketing and finance issues. Well, finance is sort of the same thing, but it's just managing your resources, right? Managing your money, managing your trucks, it's the same thing. It's just manage it. But business administration also requires a certain degree of knowledge of marketing. I've worked with a lot of MBAs in my life, actually, and I don't have an MBA, but I think if you were to if I was to take an exam on it, there'd be very little things I wouldn't know, because it's just I've tried to be an entrepreneur for so long that I've gotten to see so many aspects of what have to be considered, from marketing to management uh, various people skills, um, market research, the way you do your survey, stuff like that. There's through osmosis, I think I have effectively the knowledge of an MBA, but I don't have it on a certificate. So a bank lender, even though I do have some like legitimately good ideas, but because of the process of the system and what's the way it works, is I'm an extreme disadvantage, right? And I think we'll talk about the fake job of this episode. We'll clip this out. It's part of a series of fake jobs, and eventually your fake jobs can get called out, because everyone has a fake job to some degree. It's just a question of how fake is it, right? How much work is actually involved? How necessary is it? There's clearly some jobs that are more important than others in this world, and the job that, okay, I think we're going to move this. Oh, no, it's got something to do. We got to work just in time. I was about to drag him somewhere else. The fake job of this episode, we'll get to that in just a second. I just want to make sure while I'm talking about it that I don't get too sidetracked. I usually do the rantings on the fake jobs earlier in the episode, but we've had quite a few little things going on here. What is this? Oh, that's zero wear and tear. Why is it even in here? What we could do, I think we might have a grasshopper here that's pumping oil. We do. Okay, that's another way to make money here. This isn't very efficient. It's got to go way out there on a gravel road to get it, but it is something to pay down the debt. Put that there too. So that will load and it will unload oil. So that's another source of money. You want to catch all your money making. These things are all working on their own in the background, right? So I want to check here on coal. Oh, we're completely out of coal. Completely. We do got to grab another. Let's go into this here. I want to find that route we just made with the brick factory. I want to give it a name. We're going to call this coal delivery, just so I know what it is, right? I'll hit save. Oh, it's not even running. That's another problem. But I want 2 trucks on that. We could almost let's have a check if we got dumpers are always being used here. Always short. We're all short on them. See if there's any new ones invented yet. We're into 1964. See, this is also this is the hardest setting. We're not playing the easy mode here, that's for sure. And yeah, the T138 is still the only good option. So your options for vehicles are very limited. And I think we're going to buy a T138 because once we start needing coal inside the heat plant too, we're definitely going to need more of these. So I think, let's just check if China's got any unused ones here. They're all in use, all being used. So I think we're going to order up one. We'll order it from here. We'll buy it with rubles. We can't be buying, there's some very nice American vehicles, but we can't be spending US dollars on vehicles right now. We got lots of rubles. Oh, now it's going to appear here. And we'll sign up this new line here we created. Brick coal delivery. We'll sign it to this bad boy. Now we've got 2 trucks. We're going to deliver coal to our brick factory. And one of them just continually emptying the bricks out. I don't know how profitable that is, but it's got to make some money. You can just check on the, like, in theory, if the bricks are going up fast enough, okay, what's this one? $340. That's a full load, $10. Let's see. In 1 year, let's say we're paying 2.9% on 100,000. That's 2,900. Can you do 9 of these deliveries in a year? Well, maybe it could. But if we have 2 of them doing it, maybe it is. Maybe we will level off our borrowing. Like once you borrow enough money, even if you're not buying anything from Canada anymore, because you owe so much in interest, you can never save the game. Your society goes off the fiscal cliff, which is again that's what's happening in the U.S. and it is absolutely the billionaires causing the problems. That the idea of loaning money out and expecting money in return for money is an insane. It's theft. It really is just flat out theft. There is nothing tangible. Like the principle is tangible. The interest is fake. That's what you have to understand. The principle is real. That was money earned doing something. But interest, that's just something extra you want. And that's not a fair trade at all. So, and that's what causes the imbalance in the system. And that's why even if you aren't even buying anything, you'll still go bankrupt. Because it doesn't make sense, right? It's been a scam around for generations. Most people don't know it. And that it causes a lot of problems. If the U.S. wants to fix itself, it's going to have to change the rules on interest. Again, I think cooperatively owned national banks, where everyone owns part of the bank, therefore no profit motive off interest, just term motive, right? That penalties if you don't deliver on your project, otherwise you don't pay the interest at all. Do what you say you're going to do, and you get the money interest free. That's the way to do it. But anyways, let's get on. We're getting late in the episode here, and I want to talk about the fake job of the episode. So this time we're going to talk about the one thing that really gets my goat, the traffic and parking enforcement system and associate bylaws. And the reason it's a fake job is because we've had the ability to use GPS to monitor speeds for a long time. And the fact that we need to set up these speed traps with questionable controls. I got a speeding ticket last year, and there was a moving truck parked in front of the speed limit sign, because they're allowed to do that in that part of the city. It's a very denser area, and the moving truck was parked in front of the speed limit, and then there was a cop car with the radar gun, basically, and it was it was a school zone where normally you can go a certain speed, and I wasn't familiar with this neighborhood, and I was just driving through it, and then out of nowhere I see a school, because you can't see the school when there's blocks all around you, and then there's a car waiting, and the truck is blocking the speed limit sign, and it's a $300 fine. And I thought to myself, this guy has a fake job. This guy created a dangerous situation just to catch me going. Like I wasn't even going that fast. Like I was actually under normal speed limits. I would have been, the regular speed limit of the city would have been fine. But because I should have been going a little bit slower in this neighborhood, $300 fine. And it was a trap. And then the process of involved in it. I did want to argue about the moving truck, and I always wonder if that cop knew about that moving truck. Did he see it was there, or was he involved in it? Right. But again, these are all fake jobs. These are people who don't really contribute to society, who do this, right? Um, you see, alternatively, the reason and one of the rules for it to be counted as a fake job is there has to be a technology that can automatically do this stuff. Like GPS could have monitored my speed limit going through that neighborhood, and it could have microfined me automatically, like $10 fine each time, right? So it would get you every time when you speed. So that's if you're worried about speeding, that's a better way to do it. If you're worried about the safety of people on the roads, uh, use GPS to do the microfining. Then anyone for just a moment makes a mistake, they get caught. But it's a smaller penalty, but it'll add up. So if you speed regularly, you speed 30 times at a $10 fine, it's the same as a $300 fine. The reason I do the big fines is because the belief that they don't always catch you, right? It's just a statistical numbering thing, and the whole uh, principle of it should have been like obsolete in 2010. Like we've had the ability to do this for well over a decade to use GPS to build it into vehicles and automatically find people that way, if it's even that needed. Same with parking enforcement. Like you could just park somewhere and have like a certain amount of hours you're allowed to use public parking, street parking per month. So let's say every citizen gets, I don't know, uh, 24 total hours of free parking. Park anywhere you want, as long as it's not more than 24 hours. And then the GPS, if you're there on a parking spot that long, um, then you start paying the fees, just automatic from an account, right? Tied into your car insurance. Could all just be one unified account. This could be definitely a project for Doge as well. A little bit more sophisticated, this one, because you got to work with the auto manufacturers. But uh, that's just part of it, though. Just like the fact that these cops are doing this. After that, I wanted to argue, like I said, the obstruction of the sign, and I had to go through three different layers of uh, legal processes before I could finally dispute it. And in the end, one of the steps they gave it 50% off, but it's still a scam at 150. In my opinion, I did nothing wrong. Okay, that if someone's going to have a parked truck in front of the speed limit, um, then how am I supposed to know what the speed limit is in a neighborhood I'm not familiar with? It's just ridiculous. But the fact that they had all these, like, multiple lawyers, multiple legal aids, multiple judges, all involved in this process, like these are people who are probably collecting big salaries, contributing nothing to society, at least for traffic and speed and parking enforcement kind of rules. Uh, to me, computers have made your job obsolete over a decade ago. We've known how to do this, and I think the idea has been shared. No, I know if I've shared this idea of auto finding people in the early 2000s, so I'm sure other people have thought of this idea. But of course, it never happens because they went and did their time in school, and now they're work like that justifies giving them inflated salaries for the rest of their careers. If I have to deal with the harsh realities of how capital investment picks and chooses winners, you have to deal with the harsh reality that your job's not needed. That's um, you can't have it in a double standard. You can't just pick and choose who gets paid for being useless and who doesn't, right? And if your job, like again, these are high paying jobs, so and I'm not saying 100% of traffic and parking and the enforcement and the legal side of it is baloney, but I'll say probably at least 75% of those jobs can be cut and not worth funding. So that's just another area for a lot of cities to save money. But again, the people that typically are involved in this are well connected, and it's almost like a favor to them that they have some of these cushy jobs. So I don't know. Again, that's corruption. We have institutional corruption it's automatic corruption in a lot of places. So if you want to save some money and not go off the fiscal cliff, I would suggest significantly reducing the amount of investment, the investment in traffic by law enforcement. That's it's just not needed. I think, um, and we even know like look at the Autobahn in Germany. Even they have less fatalities on that highway. And these numbers have been out for a long time, and they don't have a speed limit. There is another kind of policing that's happening here. We don't need these cash grabbers in between. Um, People don't want to die, okay, and they don't want to hurt other people on the road. It's not. It's not like we're all mindless idiots. No, most people are sentient of self-preservation and the preservation of others. Okay, um, that's kind of the first rule of enforcement: the self-accountability. The so if you look at Germany and the Autobahn. Um, I think the reason why there's less fatalities when there's no speed limit is because you're getting from point A to point B faster. And you got to be rational. You got to think about that. If the vehicles are on the road less, there is less chance of an accident. And if a person uses their own common sense and realizes, okay, this stretch of highway here, there's no one on it, that I can see perfectly, daylight, sunny day, not many cars on the road. The faster you get off that road, the safer it is for everyone else. And if you can't see that, if that triggers you, comment below. The bylaw enforcement has no effect on that. It's just a cash grab. That the crazy drivers are going to exist whether you enforce it or not. Self-preservation is the first rule of the market there. So that's going to go into the fake jobs bin, traffic enforcement, and it's just all the associated businesses with it. The whole fake industry costing taxpayers a lot of money. Again, because these people, they collect a high salary and then they consume goods. So they're basically consuming goods and not producing goods, right? So that's why this has to be categorized as a fake job. But yeah, that's that one. Eventually I'll get you all. You're not safe. There's technologies out there. There's process improvements that are often denied because we are very reluctant to make obsolete these older jobs. This is maddening. Okay, let's blow it up. It's bugged somehow. Okay, now I think what it will try to do is it tries to I think the track builder is part of the demolition too. So let's see how that works. Assign a new demolition. Yes. This is new. This is in realistic mode. Just take note of that. That could be a really quick tutorial. How do I demolish track in realistic mode, Soviet Republic? Well, you demolish it, then you go to the track builder, and then haul it away. I don't know what was wrong with it. We'll rebuild it. Something fishy was happening there. A bizarre connection, a numbers issue, but we have to deal with reality, right? So we'll see how that works. Okay, let's check out. Let's see how much lumber. Okay, we got a bit of a lineup here. A bit of a lineup going to Canada here. So I want to start changing. Okay, yeah, let's change some of the workers. Some of the routes here. I think the Lumberjacks route here. Let's change that to Canada or to Mexico. They'll all be Mexican lumberjacks. Yes, like that. That should be a few less vehicles because we added that new route that's going back and forth from the lumber mill, this woodcutting post. So it's added a bit more traffic to it. So now the one of the routes at least will go to Mexico to get workers. And you know what I think I'm going to also do? It's just overcrowded there. So we'll go here, we'll select concrete, and we'll select Mexico. Just to distribute the traffic between these two the borders. Because this lineup's no good. We're busy selling to Canada as fast as we can. Okay, well, let's get back to this here. Yeah, we're not capped out on storage here, so that's a good sign. We got a little bit extra wood. I don't think we're going to stop this financial problem with US dollars, but we're slowing it down a little bit here. Maybe we can go back to 2.8%. That would be nice, right? To get our credit rating good enough that we can borrow at 2.8%. So that would be something. But let's build it and see if they will come here. Just want to check here. You know what? It might be an idea. Oh, this one's got bad wear and tear. It might be an idea to send permanent vehicle to grab this gap. Like, there's no way this is keeping up. There's no way. I'm thinking, let's do this. It's a little old, this truck, but it's just more. We need more money. We need money, and we'll deliver it to Mexico. Mexican oil. Let's just get this here. Set that to gravel. And we'll work on this little segment of highway. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to go out this way. I think so. Oh, look at that. See, it's building things out of order. This didn't even need to be built, and I didn't even catch it. Why does it do that? Like, I set things to high priority, yet it doesn't build them in the priority set them. This is actually one of the parts I like the most about the show, is just this editing of roads. It's it's a basic thing, but essential thing in the game. And let's go with gravel road. There, and then there, and then there. And yeah, we'll do that after, because once that's built, we'll start working our way. Let's get some of these inner legs kind of finished up. Yeah, this is no longer paused. And yeah, let's say this. None of these are paused. We want them to be working as much as we can. And which one of these should we build? I like let's do the cinema. I know it uses steel, but let's start working on it. Build it and they will come. This is Dump City Theater. Well, I don't know. We're in Los Angeles. We'll probably build Dump City Theater in Dump City. And we want to keep our concrete and our gravel trucks going basically non-stop. And this one, like, they definitely need the shopping center. So the shopping center's on. And you know what? That's going to be something that's going to happen between episodes here. Actually, we're getting at the wind down portion of the show here. So at least you can see what's happening here. So that I'll play a little bit between, and then we'll come back and maybe they'll be almost ready. And if we build it, will they come? We'll find out. Well, we're going to drag them in anyway, so you don't really have a choice. But if we drag them in, will they stay? That's the socialist the Communist Party version of the story. If you drag them in, will they stay? And yeah, so these guys are repairing away. So what happens, like the way this works is there's these trucks that can go out and do road repairs, but also vehicles will just drive into the repair station on their own when they need to be repaired. But also ones you park here will get automatically repaired just by parking them here. And generally the ones that are like, if they're 50% or worse, you want to park them here. But when you do this, you got this a little indicator here. Now, I don't know if this is, any of this is in the campaign. I don't think so. I think this is a new concept in, you know, if you're playing realistic mode. Well, then you have to be full realistic mode, but when you play at a harder setting. Like this is like, if you've played Civ 7, this is, or any of the Civ games, this is the hardest difficulty. It's like the immortal. I'm looking at that, I'm going over the limit here while I'm talking. But, so this mechanic's not enabled in the campaign, I don't believe. But you can only repair your vehicle once a year. Okay, see how it says it's been less than a year since repairing? If your vehicles are getting worse and worse, you kind of got to leave them off the road for a while to get caught up again. And as they age, they decline faster. It looks like when you park them, when they're in the orange zone of a parking lot attached to a vehicle repair station, they seem to automatically do it. But if this vehicle, for example, wanted to repair, I could just go like that. And I don't think it will drive to the repair station, but I believe one of these trucks will go service it. So that's kind of how you do it. So let's just see where it's going. It's going here. Yeah, so it's going to the one we just told it. Even though it's only got a little bit of wear and tear, 9%. That's how you do repairs in a realistic mode. They will intermediately scan and go on their own. You can manually assign them that way because there's a polling interval. It's not super precise. And of course, these vehicles will show up too. Like, the repair vehicles might show up in the construction yard. They'll say so the vehicles can go from the construction yard to the repair station, or the repair station vehicle can come there. And once it's repaired, I'm going to send it back to whence it came from. And again, I don't have to do that, but just to demonstrate, like if you catch a vehicle and it's not doing them in the priority order, it's not necessarily the most damaged one that gets repaired. It's the one that's going to be, it's probably like a range thing too, right? Because it's going 3.5 kilometer range scanning for repairs, but how it prioritizes within that range, it's not going to be perfect. So that's how you keep your vehicles kind of in better condition. So I think we're going to wind this episode up here. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. If you like the episode, give it a like. Tell others about it. If you think this show is entertaining, maybe the game's interesting to you. Maybe you might play it. Maybe you do play it and you're watching alongside. I imagine that would be someone doing the campaign is probably the most likely person to watch this. But I am really trying to get people who don't know this game to have a look at it because it is such a cool game. Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. It's one of the best city simulators, one of the best industry simulators out there. Highly recommend it. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, format things, maybe I need an editor. If you want to be an editor, you want to cut out all the ums and ahs and the duller parts of the show. Like, I think there's enough material that it could still be a good hour show. These would be at least an hour long. of somewhat interesting content. I know I get distracted when I'm talking because I'm playing the game, and um, it's imagine playing football and being the commentator, right? Usually they're two separate jobs, but I'm doing both here. So I don't do either. I'm like a sport. I don't do either terribly well. Any kind of suggestions would be good. At some point, I am going to run out of ideas. It is getting harder to write each episode because I don't have enough people providing me feedback for episodes. So I just make stuff up and hope it's interesting to you. So if you liked it, let me know. And I guess that will be the build it and they will come, or drag them into the house and they will not leave episode. I don't know. We're trying to build a better society. We'll see what it looks like next episode. I'll play a little bit in between. So have yourself a good week, and I will see you in the next episode.